Man, I hate when I have to just re-record videos over and over again. Anyway, I'm here to bring you a breaking news story, and an unfortunate one at that. So, this is the story of Sergeant Ikaika Eric Kang, a U.S. Army soldier out of Schofield Barracks with the 25th Infantry Division. He was an air traffic controller who had served, I guess this would be his 16th year in the U.S. Army. And Sergeant Kang has been arrested for attempting to provide material support or resources to a foreign terrorist organization, namely ISIS. Now, the details of these charges are related to a couple of different things that I personally can glean from FBI statements. Firstly, he has now the state the I read a text version of this, and I believe that what they were trying to say was that he is certified as the highest level combatives instructor that the U.S. Army has. They said the highest level combat instructor, but that doesn't really make sense because there's all different types of combat instruction. I think what they meant was combatives. Now, the reason that I think this, A, because it makes sense, and B, because the man is also a mixed martial artist. He has at least one professional fight on record. And he videotaped himself training a man who he believed to be a member of ISIS using this high-level combatives training. Now, the reason that he was videotaping this was apparently so that he could take the videotape back to ISIS and use it to train other ISIS fighters so that they could use this to kill innocent people or American soldiers. And I believe I didn't see anything that expressly stated this, but I believe the man that he was actually training was an undercover FBI agent. Now, I believe that the FBI was drawn to this man because he has, quote unquote, been making threatening remarks and pro ISIS statements as far back as 2011. Now, obviously, he could not have been making pro-ISIS statements in 2011. At that time, the group would have been a much smaller organization known as the Islamic State of Iraq, although still under the control of Abu Bakr Al-Baghdadi, who is as far as anybody knows, still the leader of ISIS to this day. They just wouldn't have been called ISIS at the time. But the point still stands. He has been making concerning remarks, one way or the other, as far back as 2011, and at one point his security clearance was even revoked. How he got it back is a mystery to me. Now, other things that he is in trouble for include the fact that when they searched his computer, he had in his possession 18 U.S. military documents labeled secret, 16 of which were still classified to this day, and over 500 documents referring to ISIS or plans to do violence. Now, he also bought a drone, which he apparently planned to use to allow ISIS fighters to avoid engagements with U.S. tanks. There is also a byline in one report that I read talking about that he had researched the most painful form of torture that you could do. I don't know if this is related to the case, because apparently the reasoning behind that was that he was angry at a civilian who took his air traffic controller's license. Now, a couple of things that I want to just go over real quick about this case. First off, this is an American-born man, not born into a Muslim family. He was born in Oahu, which is also in Hawaii, where he was stationed. He joined the Army after 9/11, so you would think that this is a man who cares about his country, a patriot. And most likely he probably was at the time. He has done several tours of duty in Iraq and Afghanistan, and he was a convert to Islam. Now, the thing is that his attorney, a man by the name of Bernie Burvar, appears to be setting up to use the defense that that Sergeant Kang has some sort of service-related mental illness, and that mental illness was known about by the U.S. Army, but they, for some reason, refused to treat it. Now, I'm going to go ahead and call bull on that, and here's why. Sergeant Kang has been deployed, and since he's in Hawaii, that means that he came back from that deployment. And one thing the Army does, almost to a fault, is scrutinize the hell out of soldiers returning from combat. Now, there are plenty of soldiers who do have a mental illness and don't get treated, but that is not because of the Army. That is because of their fear of stigmatization, their fear of looking weak, and the fact that they themselves avoid having that mental illness found out and avoid getting treatment for that mental illness. What this man does have is a belief in a violent and destructive ideology, plain and simple. We've seen this too many times. Wherever you find Islam, you find terrorism, you find violence, you find murder. They go hand in hand. Moreover, the particular brand of Islam preached by Abu Bakr Al-Baghdadi, a man to whom Sergeant Kang swore allegiance, the leader of ISIS, it is the worst brand of Islam that there is, because they believe in following Islam to the letter. And the closer you get to actually following the teachings of the Prophet, the more disturbing, violent, and dangerous Islam becomes. And, just as a side note, a closing note on that, I realize that Wikipedia is filled out by regular people. I'm not exactly sure how it's done, but when I was doing some of my auxiliary research for this story, I found something on Wikipedia that really bugs the shit out of me, and if anybody knows how to edit Wikipedia, I would appreciate it if you would fix this. The man, the leader of ISIS, who I've mentioned a couple of times in this story, Abu Bakr Al-Baghdadi, is listed on Wikipedia as a political leader. Why would the title of this man be political leader? He is a fucking terrorist. End of story. If your political party is terrorist, that's not politics. That's fucking murder. End of story. But I just wanted to bring that up. Again, I'll let you guys know if anything else comes from this, if there's any further developments. Pretty much all we have to go on right now are the FBI statements and the statements from Bernie Brevard, the attorney for Mr. Kang. You guys have a great night, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.